Pricing your product or pricing your service, how on earth do you know how much you should charge? In this video, I'm actually going to give you some formulas so you know exactly how to do this. On this channel, I talk a lot about business, branding, marketing, and travel, so if those are topics that interest you, I encourage you to stick around. If you want extra brownie points, you'll hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified when I post next. Now, on to pricing. Today I'm in Cabo, and the question comes from Sophia, who asks, Phil, how do I know how much to charge for my services or my products? Great question, Sophia. If you're creative or a consultant or moonlighting from your day job, then you know it is hard work to decide how much your hard work is worth. In a recent episode on Brand Therapy, which is my podcast, I interviewed my friend Natasha, who's also an interior designer and an owner at DRC, an interior design studio in San Diego. In the episode, we talk about the trials and tribulations of invoicing clients in a creative field. As someone who has never had a boss, I have tried every kind of pricing model out there, from flat rate to retainer structure. I feel like I've tried all of them, and I'm going to give you today some formulas that are going to really help you based on what I've learned over the years. There are countless resources out there to help you decide how to price for your services, and I'm going to give you some of my favorites, starting with the first one. Option 1, divide your salary by 1,000 and then add 15%. I recommend this option for someone who hasn't tried freelancing before. It's a quick calculation that, in my opinion, is fair for both parties as long as your salary is also fair. If you're freelancing, it's hard to actually work 40 hours a week. And what I mean is 40 hours on the clock. 40 hours that you are billing your client. On average, it's probably half of that to be realistic, because you're also spending time doing things that you're not necessarily on the clock for. Marketing yourself, taking complimentary calls to get the ball rolling on projects, or educating yourself to become even better at your area of expertise. The reason why this formula works is because it accounts for two things. You likely won't be billing more than 20 hours per week, at least when you're getting started, and you don't get a benefits package because you're likely your own boss. To determine your ideal salary, I recommend researching job descriptions to see where you line up in terms of your expertise to other people in other positions. In LA, for example, a designer with a few years of experience might be a salary at $60,000, whereas a developer with over 10 years of experience might be double that. Figure out where you are in a way that pays the bills but also reflects your level of expertise. Also remember, the more you charge hourly, the more your clients will rightfully expect, so it's critical that you come to a conclusion that's fair for you and your client. I'll give an example. Let's say that after some research, you decide that a fair salary for yourself is around $75,000. If you divide $75,000 by 1,000, you'll get $75. Add 15% and you get your hourly rate of just over $86, and for simplicity, you might want to just round down slightly. So let's say $85, because invoicing your hourly rate at a 0.25 cent makes not a lot of sense. So in this case, I recommend billing $85 per hour. We talked about option 1 with a formula. Now let's go to option 2, flat rate. This is what I did when I first started so that I could accumulate clients and develop trust with them without always constantly checking the clock. And depending on your personality, this option may work for you or it may not work for you. If you're someone who has a hard time drawing lines with clients, or you prefer the simplicity of billing hourly, I would still recommend option 1. But if you're someone who's serious about being your own boss and you know how much you need to charge, then this one can be really great. The key to this first working out is calculating the minimum amount you need to live. So let's say if you live in the US, don't forget to add around 20% tax to your minimum. Now you know exactly how much you need to survive in a worst case scenario of minimal clients. Next, you need to figure out the value offering to clients that allows you to provide long-term support to them. For example, when I did this flat rate, I would have a weekly hour-long call with my clients to write their social media posts together, and then I'd take care of editing the posts, scheduling the posts, posting and monitoring and analyzing them. Throughout the week, I'd keep my clients at ease by sending content ideas like articles, and I know that they appreciated that. On my flat rate, I'd always be around without any surprise fees. For this flat rate to work, you need to be honest with yourself about how many clients you think you need to maintain in a worst case scenario. Essentially, ask yourself how much you believe in your ability to sell if you are pounding the pavement. Let's use an example. Imagine you need $3,000 a month to cover all of your expenses, baseline groceries, and your 20% estimated tax. And let's say no matter what, you believe in your ability to sell to at least 2 clients, even in the worst case of worst scenarios. Then what you need to consider is charging a flat rate of $1,500 per month for, let's say, a 6-month engagement. This way, everyone wins. Your client doesn't get surprise invoices, and they know how much it costs to have your support and to know how much you're going to be raking in 6 months out. What's powerful about this option is the ability to scale. Even if you had 4 clients instead of 2, you'd be earning double what you'd need in a worst case scenario. So it's a powerful setup if you feel comfortable about being a steadfast support for your client. You can make lots of money and, more importantly, provide your clients with really good work. Option number 3, charge a retainer. Now, for many, the word retainer might send shivers down their spine, but trust me when I say that retainers are great. A retainer essentially means that your client is getting a guaranteed block of time from you for a certain period of time. It helps you because you know how much is coming in upfront. And it helps your client because they know that you'll be around to help them whenever they need it. In creative work in particular, assignments come up that can never really be anticipated, or emergencies arrive on social media without warning. A retainer helps because instead of being slowed down by providing estimates, you can just get to work right away. My recommendation is go through option 1 to calculate the hourly rate, then offer a discount on your hourly rate for an upfront retainer payment. Let's use the same $85 an hour example as your hourly rate. And let's say your client is going to need you for roughly 5 hours per week. Given this, you could propose a retainer for 20 hours per month for roughly $1,360, which is $85 times 20, less a 20% discount, as long as payments are given up front every month. Some people have a use it or lose it approach with retainers, i.e. if you don't use the full 20 hours per month that you paid for, then they're gone. But I don't think that this is beneficial for you or for your client. If your client is paying for you for a service, then you should render it, whether it's the 15th of the month or the 3rd of the month. It doesn't really matter. If you're trying to develop a long-term relationship with this client, telling them that their money has been flushed down the toilet isn't exactly going to help. My recommendation, add a clause that any unused retainer hours can roll into 1 additional month, and that way if you spare 10 hours by the end of a 3-month engagement, you can figure out how to use those 10 hours with your client in month 4. Now, before you come to any conclusions here, I want you to know that the best way to figure out your pricing is to just try it. See what works best for you and for your clients. As long as you're being fair to your client and to yourself, everybody wins. How about you? How are you thinking of deciding on your pricing? And are you going to try out any of the models that I've described? I would love to hear. I read and respond to all of the comments myself, and I would love to hear from you. If you found this video useful, I would totally appreciate a thumbs up, and I'm going to link next to some videos that you might find useful. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more from me. I'm Phil, and I appreciate you hanging out with me today. Here's what's up next.